On August 21, 1976, the United States assembled B-52 strategic bombers, an aircraft carrier task force, attack helicopters, fighter jets, and hundreds of troops for one mission. The mission: cut down one tree. The tree lost. It took 42 minutes. This is that story. This is Oops history. True stories that sound fake. Today, Operation Paul Bunyan, the most expensive tree trim ever. Let's set the scene. Korea, 1976. The Korean War stopped in 1953 with an armistice, not a peace treaty, so both sides are technically still at war. Between them runs the DMZ, the most heavily armed border on Earth. In the middle of the DMZ sits the Joint Security Area at Panmunjom, the one place where soldiers from both sides stand face to face, every day, armed and extremely tense. Imagine an office where half the staff is legally at war with the other half. Now, hand out rifles. That is the Joint Security Area. Inside the area, the UN command had a checkpoint and an observation post. Directly between them stood a 100-foot poplar tree, and every summer its leaves blocked the line of sight. If the checkpoint got into trouble, the observation post would see nothing but foliage. So the fix was obvious: trim the branches. This is normal. Landscapers do it every day, and none of them require air support. On August 18, 1976, a UN command work party went out to trim that tree. And here the joke stopped for a minute, because what happened next was not funny at all. North Korean soldiers confronted the work party and then attacked them. Two American officers, Captain Arthur Boniface and First Lieutenant Mark Barrett, were killed with the work party's own axes. It became known as the Axe Murder Incident, and it pushed the peninsula to the brink of a second Korean War. Washington had an impossible problem: do nothing, and your officers can be killed without consequence. Strike back, and you might restart the war. The response had to be overwhelming, and also somehow not technically an attack. So the Pentagon produced one of the strangest plans in military history: go back and finish the job. Not trim the tree, cut the entire thing down. With the largest security escort in the history of gardening, they named it Operation Paul Bunyan, after the giant lumberjack of American folklore. Subtlety was not the objective. August 21st, 3 days later, first light. A convoy rolls into the Joint Security Area unannounced. 16 Army engineers carrying chainsaws, escorted by around 60 Special Forces soldiers of the Joint Security Force. Also present, South Korean Special Forces, some of whom, according to accounts, had strapped claymore mines to their chests and were loudly inviting the North Koreans to come closer. Above them, attack helicopters and Cobra gunships circled. Above those, F-4 Phantom and F-1 fighters. Above those, B-52 strategic bombers with fighter escort in plain view of the north. Offshore sat the aircraft carrier USS Midway and her task force. Behind the lines, artillery and thousands of troops stood ready. The alert level went up. Every plane, every ship, every soldier aimed at a plant. Possibly the most lopsided matchup in military history. On one side, the most powerful armed force on Earth. On the other, a tree. The tree had no allies. The engineers fired up their chainsaws and dropped the 100-foot poplar in 42 minutes. Not a single shot was fired. North Korean troops rushed over, took one look at the airborne division of this landscaping company, and decided today was an excellent day to stand very still. They watched and never intervened. And then something rare happened. Within hours, Kim Il-sung's government sent the UN command a message expressing regret over the original incident. North Korea essentially never apologizes for anything. A tree got closer than decades of diplomacy. The stump was left standing on purpose, as a message. A monument to Captain Boniface and Lieutenant Barrett now stands on the spot, and the nearby UN camp was later renamed Camp Boniface. So ends possibly the largest military operation ever assembled to kill one tree. 42 minutes of chainsaw work, backed by the better part of a war. Time for the damage report. 2 officers killed. The reason none of this was ever about a tree. 100 feet of poplar, gone in 42 minutes. Strategic bombers against 1 tree. Confirmed. Aircraft carriers, 1. Claymores strapped to chests, reportedly several. Shots fired, 0. Official North Korean expressions of regret, roughly 1, and it took a tree. So the next time a neighbor complains about your hedge, be grateful they didn't call in a carrier group. Subscribe. There is unfortunately plenty more where this came from.